Hello everyone, welcome to our Alda Learning channel. This video is for grade 3 from the book of Oxford Reading, Comprehension and Grammar. Today we will discuss the unit number 3. In my previous video, I told you about the fiction stories. Now let's move forward to our next fiction stories. These are The Wizard of Oz, The Jungle Book and Animorphs, The Strangers. Now moving towards our first fiction story, that is The Wizard of Oz. Firstly, we will discuss the main character of the story. The main character of the story is Dorothy. This is the picture of Dorothy and this is her pet. Dorothy is very sweet and simple girl. She lives in her present and she does not trouble herself by any kind of useless problem. But the major goal of the Dorothy is to go back to her home. Now moving towards, I will tell you about the friends of the Dorothy. This is the Cowardly Lion. The second one is the Tin Woodman and the third one is the Scarecrow. I will tell you about these friends in the story. Now moving towards the main idea of the story. The main idea of this story is that Dorothy wants to go back to her home. Then the Witch of the West told her to go to the Emerald City and to visit the wizard. He might be able to help her get back to her home. Now moving towards the solved pages of this unit. Before discussing about the solved pages, I will tell you about the whole story from this unit. Actually, this is the chunk of that story which I discussed in the previous video. Now, when the Witch of the West told her that to visit the wizard, that he might be able to help her, then the Dorothy started her journey towards the Emerald City. And with Dorothy, there were 3 friends, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow. Then they all started their journey towards the Emerald City. Then they reached the Emerald City and then they saw that everything was green there. Green fences, green houses, and everything was getting brighter and brighter. There were greenery everywhere. Then at the end of Yellow Brick Road, Dorothy saw the 2 main big gates. She went there and she pulled the rope. Suddenly the bell rang and the small man like the Munchkin came out. He said to the Dorothy that if you want to come in, then you have to wear the spectacles. Then Dorothy said, why I should wear the spectacles? She asked. Then he said that if you will not wear the spectacles, then the brightness of Emerald City will make you blind. So that's mean that the Emerald City is very bright green city. Now moving towards the solved exercises, the questions. The first question is, who do you think is the main character in this story? Obviously, Dorothy is the main character. The second question is, why are Dorothy and her friends going to the Emerald City? Because they went to the city of Emerald to see the great wizard Oz. Why do you think the place is called the Emerald City? Because the city of Emerald was made of green glasses, emerald and other jewels. And the fourth question is, write in your own words, describe what you think Dorothy and her friends will see when they enter the gates. Actually, this is the creative question and according to my imagination, this is an imaginative question. According to my imagination, I think when they entered, they saw the green fountains, green sitting areas, green mirrors, everything were green there. So write down this question according to your imagination. And the last question is, draw a picture of land of Oz described in the story. This picture is already drawn on your books, so draw that picture from there. And if you want to know more about this story, search it on Google, and there are many videos on YouTube. You can see that too. So moving towards our next slide, that is about the comparative and superlative. Before doing the comparative and superlative, there are few rules about that, and I will tell you about the rules. So let's move forward. So the comparative mean the comparison between two things, and the superlative mean the comparison between more than two things. Moving toward, there are two main rules of comparative and superlative. First rule is vowel before consonant. Vowel before consonant. For example, we will take one word, one adjective like big. So, if there is the vowel before the consonant, then we will double our last consonant in comparative and superlative, like B-I-G-G-E-R in comparative and B-I-G-G-E-S-T in superlative. Rule number 2 is assumption of Y. Assumption of Y. What does that mean? For example, we take one adjective like busy. We will exempt Y from this adjective. We will write B-U-S. We will exempt Y and add I and ER of the comparative, and in superlative we will write this like B-U-S-I-E-S-T. This is how the comparative and superlative describe in your book. So now let's move forward to our book again. Now, as you know about the rules of comparative and superlative, let's move forward towards our exercise. On page number 32, this is an exercise for you. The first word is big. This word, this adjective is extracted from your chapter. So there is a vowel before the consonant. So while writing the comparative, we will double our consonant and add ER at the end. In superlative, B-I-G-G, we will double the last consonant and add E-S-T. Likewise, we will solve this exercise. Now, moving towards our next slide, that is also the sentences. Complete these sentences. My house is bigger than my aunt's house. Now, why I wrote bigger here? Because I am comparing two things. Therefore, I wrote comparative here. B. Tabitha is the dash cat in the world, cutest. Why I wrote superlative degree here? Because I am comparing more than two things. C. Nandral is stronger than Wolfgang. Now I am again comparing two things, therefore I wrote comparative, stronger. Now moving towards, there are few adjectives which is also taken from your story. Tidy, busy, noisy, silly, thin, fat, big, hat. Now first, tidy. There is Y. We will exempt this Y and add IER and IEST in superlative. Likewise, we will solve this exercise. Now moving towards the next page, that is the paragraph. I read this paragraph and solved this for you. You will also have to read this and solve this. I solved all the words with the comparative and superlatives. Now moving towards, I will tell you about the science fiction. Look up science fiction in your dictionary and write the meaning in your own words. Science fiction is the genre in which we study the technological, the systematic advances which is based upon the space stories, time travel and life on other planets. Now regarding this, we will see this dialog box. This dialog box is for your reading and vocabulary purpose. So you will have to read this. Now moving toward another extract from any other story, that is Visit to the Planet. In this chunk, they are describing that there is an alien who is telling about the first day at Earth. So according to that paragraph, I solved this exercise. Read the diary entry and answers the questions below. You will also have to read that. Who is talking in the entry? An alien is describing his first day on Earth. The diary is set in the past. What do these words and phrases really mean in the passage? Match them with the correct meanings. According to the alien, a train was a worm, a train station was a feeding station, a dancing was a shaking body, and earphone was air heaters. So, moving towards the next question, imagine that the alien watches a cricket match or visit a movie theater on Earth. Write a paragraph in your own word. Imagine that how alien think when he is in any playground or in theater and write down in your notebooks. Now moving towards our next fiction story, that is The Jungle Book. Jungle Book is a very famous story. The main character of this story is Mowgli, that is a man cub. And there are many other characters which are animals, like tiger as Sher Khan, a black panther as Bagheera, and brown bear as Bhalu. Now moving towards the main idea of the story. The main idea of the story is the survival of Mowgli in the forest between the animals. Actually, the tiger, that is the Sher Khan, is an enemy of the Mowgli and all the animals in the forest. He always wanted to hunt the Mowgli and all the animals and to rule on the jungle. But at the end of the story, Sher Khan died and the animals lived their life happily, and the Mowgli went to his village and started living his life happily. Now, this is an extract from The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. You will read this paragraph and write down what do you think what will happen next. You can imagine the ending, or you can go on Google and search this story. You will find the complete story and you can write it in your own words. And there are many animated movies on YouTube. You can search that too. Now moving towards our last fiction story, that is Animorphs, the Strangers. There are two main characters of this story. First is Animorph and second one is Yeerk. Animorphs are the human beings who have secret power to convert themselves into any animal, and the Yeerks are the aliens. Now the main idea of this story is that there is a war between the Animorphs and the Yeerks, and at the end of this story, Animorphs won and they saved their planets. Now on page number 35 of your book, This is another extract from this story. There is a character that is Rachel. I am not going to tell you my last name. I am not going to tell you where I live. That means she is not telling us anything about herself because she is afraid from the Yeats. Now, moving towards the answers of these questions. After reading this paragraph, I have written the answers of these questions for you. First question is, why does Rachel keep her full name and address a secret? The answer is, she is afraid of Yeats because Yeats can kill her. Second question, do you think the Yeats are pets, aliens or friends? Explain why. The answer is, Yeats are small alien slug-like creatures. Question 3. How can Rachel and her friends fight the Yeats? And the answer is, they had one power to become any animal, so by this power they fought against the Yeats. And the last question, is this a good beginning to a story? Why or why not? No, this is not a good beginning. And if you want to know more about this story, you can go on Google, on YouTube, because there are many animated movies. You can watch them too and write it in your own way. This is all for today. And if you like this story, please share this and subscribe our channel. Thank you.